In this video we are going to talk about artificial neural network. So if you are already in data science, you must have heard about a neural network or artificial neural network. And if you don't know what a neural network is, don't worry. Today we are going to cover everything about neural network, from its structures, from how it is originated, what is the use, how does it work, everything. So yeah, let's begin it. So artificial neural network. What is a neural network? So the term neural network is derived from the same neural network which is inside a human brain. So with the natural neural network which is inside the human brain, we are able to perform the activities like recognition, perception, and all the other data our brain process is due to the neural network present inside our brain. So a neural network is a highly complex, non-linear and parallel structure which contains neurons, which is its essential unit, which is a very complex in nature, but it's a very small unit, and that neurons are interconnected with each other in a very complex manner, in a parallel complex nature. So it is something like this. If you can see it, I hope you can see it. So there are several neurons connected to each other in a very complex manner. So for example, the task of perception, a human, all the task of perceptions we do is which is due all the tasks we can all the data processing or the information processing task or the perceptions and recognition task a human can able to perform is because of this neural network. So if you try to replicate a similar network to enable a computer or machine or a software or electronic device to do the similar task which a human can do, we call it artificial neural network. So natural neural network and artificial neural network. The neural network which God has given us is natural neural network, and the one which we'll try to create in the series is which will enable us to process similar tasks which a human can perform. We'll see there will be some degradation, of course. Computer cannot right now cannot perform the task as good as humans. So let's talk about it. So the one thing which comes to our mind, what kind of task? So let's take an example. For example, in my life, if I have met 1,000 people so far, I have their image, their faces, they're stored somewhere inside my brain, somewhere inside the memory of my brain. And when I meet a new person, I'll be able to tell that, hey, he's John, hey, she's Radha. So how I am processing this information? So there are some people's image stored in back of my memory, and when I meet a new person, my brain connects the active neural network to these images which are already there. Then I'll be able to tell, hey, he's John, she's Radha, I know them from high school, etc. So if we want computer to do a similar task, we'll use artificial neural network. So we'll try to replicate the natural neural network, and we'll try to enable a machine to do a task which a human can do. So there are something. First thing, as I told you, the human brain's neural network or natural neural network. So the natural neural network is very complex. It consists of about 10 billion neurons and about 60 trillion connections. So 10 billion into 60 trillion. This is very complex, as you can imagine. So the natural neural network is indeed very complex. So unfortunately, we cannot exactly replicate the human or the natural neural network to a machine. So what we can do, we can take a subset or a small portion of this big unit. So we can take maybe n number of neurons and X number of connections, which is obviously a very small subset, of these huge, this huge natural neural network, and we will create artificial neural network. It would be a small subset of this. The other reason is the exact structure of natural neural network is not defined yet. We cannot exactly define the exact structure, that how these things, how these neurons are interconnected with each other. So it is not possible to exactly replicate, even after so much innovation in biotechnology, we cannot tell exactly how is this structure is formed. So we cannot replicate the exact structure, but we can obviously recreate a small subset of it to perform the task which we need to computer to perform. So for example, the image recognition task I just talked about. Similarly, if you want to do the same task with a machine, you will first so you'll need two things. First, you will give the computer 1000 images, and you have to tell the computer who these people are. Then you have to develop a algorithm, and then when you connect these two things, the data which you process, the training you have given to the computer or machine, and then you will give algorithm. Then if you give a new image, computer will try to look into all these images, and then it will try to come up with the best match. It will tell you, out of these 1000 people, this new image is similar to X person. So it will be able to tell you. So the thing is, how much time a computer will take. When you see a person, I think most of us, we can immediately tell that she's Radha, etc. So we can immediately recognize a person. Why? Because of the complexity of this structure. This is not the speed. So there is one more thing which I would like to quickly talk about. So the speed, I hope you can see this part of the board. So the speed of a neural cell in human is about 10 to the power minus 3 seconds. And the processing speed of IC, electronic IC, is 10 to the power minus 9 seconds, which is a nanosecond, 1 nanosecond. So even if the speed of the human's information processing cells are lower than that of electronics, even though it is less, it is significantly less. So 10 to the power minus 6 degrees difference. It is or 6 minus 6 order of difference between the processing capacity. Still, we are able to perform the task more accurately and quicker. The reason being the complexity. So one thing is clear: the more complex, the more distributed, the more parallel, and the more vast is the structure of a neural network, the quickly and accurately will be able to perform the task. So it's not the speed, but it's the complexity of the neural network which makes it a very sophisticated data processing technique. Okay, so let's move on. So now, after knowing all this, we can definitely tell artificial neural network is nothing but a replica of a very small replica of natural neural network, which we will use for a machine to do the task similar to the human. Okay, I think let's get rid of it and let's quickly talk about the properties of a neural network. So, one second. So if you are already a science or a math background, you must know what is a nonlinearity. A nonlinearity is the function of the equation which is not linear. So an equation like this is nonlinear equation. So the good thing about the neural network is it is inherently non-linear. And why it is very important? Because we know that the most of the real life problems are not linear. A linear relationship is simple summation of a one degree variables, and it produces output y. For example, y is equal to x1 plus x2. That would be a linear equation. But when we talk about the higher degree of the variables, which is most of the actual real life problems or business problems, are the neural network are inherently non-linear in the nature. So we don't have to take care about the non-linearity. The neural networks are already defined in a way. So this is one of the very most important properties. The second most important property is input-output mapping. What do I mean by input-output mapping? By input-output mapping, I mean that the neural networks can be trained or can be teached, or sometimes they automatically train themselves to make less and less error by adjusting the input and the output using a feature parameter. We'll talk about feature parameter later. So, but here, input and output, we can make some changes here in free parameters to modify the output. For example, if a baby tries to identify a four-legged animals as a cat or a dog, sometimes it can be wrong. So its parents tell him that it's not a cat, it's a dog, and it's not a dog, it's a cat. If a baby makes a wrong prediction, so by mapping, he tries to correct himself by suggestion of his parents or by looking at more and more animals and making wrong predictions. So once he has enough idea of a parameter of a dog and a parameter of a cat, it can actually tell very accurately a four-legged animal is a cat or a dog. Similarly, a neural network, we can either train our neural network to adjust its output because it's wrong, or sometimes by doing it again and again and again and trying and failing, it can automatically adjust the output to a right extent. So input-output mapping is very important, and the good thing is it is also inherent property of a neural network. Third property of a neural network is adaptivity. Adaptivity means they are adaptive, easy. So a neural network is inherently adaptive to adjust itself according to the surroundings. Consider the example of human brain. The human brain is evolved during several thousand years. Since the human came to existence, our brain is evolving according to the surroundings and environment. So, similarly, a neural network can be adaptable to its surrounding and its environment, and it is very important property. Why? Because the things keep changing. Even in the world of data, science, and in the world of information, the information keeps changing, updating. So, we don't know. So, the adaptivity is a very good feature which enables the neural network to adapt itself according to the change. The next important, it is very easy to understand. We'll talk about it later when we talk about free parameters, how it actually works. So just remember the word right now, free parameter, but we'll talk about more about free parameters when we'll actually look at some of the application of neural network. Next property is evidential processing. What do I mean by evidential processing? The evidential processing means like human. So the same example which I have taken previously, if I meet a person and I'm not sure that I'm not sure if she is Radha or if she is Jessica. I will just say that I think she is Jessica and she was with me in high school. So something like this. Even if the neural network is not certain of the outcome, it can tell you with a certain confidence that I'm 50% sure that she is Radha. So similarly, a neural network is also directly without inherently associated with confidence. If it is not able to make a prediction correctly, it will tell you that it is not sure about the prediction. So it is very good because it provides extra dimension to the prediction and the accuracy, the confidence interval. So evidential processing, it's one of the property. I don't know if you can see, I will write the fifth property here, which is also very important, and which is fault tolerance. What do I mean by fault tolerance? By fault tolerance, I mean that, for example, as I just talked, that the neural network is highly parallel and highly complex networks. What if some of the neural cells or some of the neurons stops working? Would if it happens to a human, uh, it would not be a catastrophic damage. Maybe some functions of the brain, some kind of judgment or prediction or judgment making capacity at some extent can be affected. The results can be degraded, but it would not be catastrophic damage. It won't stop working completely. So fault tolerance is a very good a characteristic which enables a neural network to work even if some of the area of the network is damaged. And when we actually implement it on machine, that would be a little different, but you can definitely make an analogy of fault tolerance to a human brain. If some part of human brain is damaged or is not working, it can still work. So it is called there is a term for this is called graceful degradation. Graceful degradation means that the degradation in the quality of output would be directly dependent on the amount of fault. It's not like that if the one CPU stops working, the whole systems will be stopped. It can be, because that's how we design it. So we can take care of this feature in designing a neural network. So fault tolerance is a graceful degradation. So you will not lose everything. It would not be a catastrophic damage. So this is all about the introduction, the properties, and what is the neural network. In the next video, we can talk about the structure of a artificial neural network, because we can not replicate the natural neural network. We'll talk about the artificial neural network's structure. How does it work? How does it process information and gives the output? Thank you for watching.